Offset?
I mean,
I just think it's an interesting situation, and a lot of niggas are looking at it like, yeah, that's what she like. She she deserves it, but more like it's our turn. Like, run them pockets up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Give him his money, and I'm kind of like, I don't really take too much issue with that. I think that's fair enough. Even like I'm somewhat hesitant or like critical of too aggressive of child support or parental or payment arrangements that are, I think, predatory. And I've said that before, especially when we're talking about the more common thing of the other way around. And so I maintain that here, which is that like if he's taking her for too much to where it doesn't make sense and is not justifiable, then it's an issue. But if you're married to someone and being married to them afforded you a certain level of, comfort, him being with Cardi, if she tended to pay for certain things and he maybe took a little bit of pause on elements of his career to be her partner, I don't know. But if he can make that case in court and she owes him some money off that, then I have no issue with that.
Yeah, well, that's not what happened. So you would have an issue with this particular situation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tell me what happened so I can make a correct opinion.
Because Cardi B went on X Spaces or some shit and just went the fuck off like she normally does, like on Spaces. Just sounding like Griselda Blanco. It's like she actually ended up wishing that nigga death, like a slow fucking death. Crazy.
Oof.
But hey, I mean, there's father of her kids, but
I think that's a bit much.
But her from her side of the story was she is saying that he hasn't been helping with nothing financially within the last year, like all the children's expenses, the nannies, the daycare, like the chef, like anything that goes like in terms of like the kids. Offset really hasn't contributed much in the last year. And then, by the way, mind you, they was buying each other extremely ridiculously expensive gifts, and he was saying he wanted that back, and he claims or he alleges that she's taking everything, which she completely denied, because he was like, I mean, like with the house in Jersey, nigga, I bought that with my own blood, sweat, tears. You don't have no right to that. I bought that house. Fuck you. The house in Atlanta, we can split that because like when you ask for spousal support, you just said yourself, like it's because they afforded you a lifestyle. That nigga Ben had a larger lifestyle than Cardi B had before she was Cardi B. She ended up being a bigger artist and making more money, but his lifestyle, when you get to that level, was not that greatly impacted. The stuff that they were able to buy together.
The timeline though matters. Like if she blew up more to where that inflated his lifestyle, then now that's a new lifestyle. Like
he was already living that lifestyle.
So like, but it's levels to it. If she bought the house in Atlanta or wherever you said, and it was like, she bought her own house in Jersey. They have multiple properties. They have a house. Did they live together in it? They have a house. They have a house together in Atlanta. She was saying, "Cool, we can split that because we did go."
So the context,
I'm saying just for the house of the other one that they didn't buy. Sorry, Alvin, but the context of the house that she's saying that's all mine. I'm just saying I bought it with my money isn't to me enough to say you don't owe something. She might not owe anything, but if they lived together in that house and that was a family house that she bought, he may have rights to it. He may not, but I'm just saying that one element doesn't mean that.
So I think rights to something versus the argument that people are making in regards to spousal support are completely different. So like rights to something probably, actually. Yeah. So touche.
But I mean rights morally, just to distinguish. I don't mean necessarily legally, because he may very well legally,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does have rights to it legally, but morally I think is a more interesting conversation because the law is what it is. But I think the context that people are missing is that a lot of people do this thing where, and there are a lot of examples, but they tend to say like, if somebody's popping in the Twitter sphere, if it's the woman, then that means the man is just like dusty and he doesn't like have anything and he's doing all this, what you call it. Like Offset is worth 40 million. Is Cardi B worth more? Yes, absolutely. She's worth about double. She's worth about 80 million. But 40 to 80 million, that sounds like the same cheeseburger, like functionally. But so all that to say is, and I'm doing this to lean toward the Cardi B side. I don't think she owes him anything from a spousal support perspective, because his lifestyle is not going to be more like materially impacted by like not being with her. Like he can still go and drive around in his fucking Urus or whatever with his $40 million net worth, sell some shit, whatever. Legally, again, I think that the legal stuff is going to play out the way it's going to play out because, again, she is worth more. And a lot of that stuff happened after they were together. So the legal system is going to play out how the legal system plays out. But in terms of making the argument that he deserves this because she afforded him a lifestyle that he can't maintain without her. I think that's posturing, and that's like bullshit. And he can continue to live his life. I will also say that, just like bringing it back to like the larger argument of what this is, I have often said, as women continue to trend towards parity and eventually overtaking men in average income, and I've also stated multiple times that this is going to happen first. What's up? Waving the red flag family. Want to talk to you a little bit about, in all seriousness, just like our podcast, it has immaculate and widespread range. Every card gives you two options: a thoughtful, intimate question to spark some deeper conversation, but you also got one that's some completely off the wall bullshit style thing, just to keep it a little bit more fun, a little bit more unserious. And you can decide the vibe, right? You can set the tone of how you want the evening to go. It's great for a cookout, a kickback, game nights, family reunions, or if you just want to get to know somebody on a deeper level, but also have a little fun with it. Plus, it's double the cards of our last game, 100 total. So excellent value. Pre-orders are live now. And if you grab yours early, you get a discount. Channel members, you also get an extra 10% off. So make sure that you're becoming members to get all of the benefits of this being a Chief one. The game ships soon. Don't wait. Go to shop.wavingtheredflag.com and make sure that you lock that in and get ready for some of the deepest yet dumbest conversations of your life, as the great Edward Overgold once said. This is going to happen first with Black people, because Black men on average and on median still make more money than Black women, but Black women have closed that gap a lot. And the more Black men don't go to school and Black women continue to go to school, within 10 years, that role will reverse very quickly. I guarantee you're going to start seeing calls for the rules to change.
Because we might get paid accidentally.
Yes, because it's not gender. It's not gender. It doesn't say the woman gets this. It says the highest earner.
Yeah.
And historically that just meant the man, right? Whoever gets this, like you blah 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 blah. So I do think that you'll start seeing push for those to change. I will also say that.
Do you think it should?
And that's what I'm gonna get into now. Okay. I think that oftentimes, much like most things, that marriage is financially to be certain. I think other things we can talk about it, even though I know where I stand on it. But I think those things are more of a discussion than the financial aspects of it. I think in terms of your individual wealth building, marriage tends to hurt women. So I think that if somebody's going to get spousal support, it should be the woman. Typically, again, based on all of the trends that we see from that perspective, financially.
I would tend to agree with that, even on the financial tip, because I'm thinking about things like pregnancy and childcare that like cut into their ability to earn, which goes back to that convo we had ages back about like should the man pay a woman to have the baby, and I was like, yeah, I think that makes sense.
Which I disagree with, by the
income. Yeah, you did, but I'm and we can maybe revisit it at some point in the future. But I would think that there's a money point at which that like you kind of put a handicap and go like, the woman, we bias it towards her, but once she's making 300,000 and the nigga's making 35,000, it's like, bro, you got to pay that man. You can't say like, oh well, I had a dip in income because I was pregnant. It's like, you make so much more money than this man. You need to be paying him spouse support. So I don't think that a blanket defer towards the woman works past a certain point, that there should be a cutoff at some disparity. But I agree that there should be some bias in that direction for the reasons that you mentioned.
I mean, I would definitely agree with that. Like if I'm in that situation, but the Cardi
with that disparity.
Thing, I mean, but the Cardi B and Offset thing, that's a complete.
With the Cardi B and Offset thing, I don't know what kind of effort he's putting in, because finance and effort are two different things. So so if he's putting in none and he's putting in no money, like he's not physically taking care of the babies and he's not contributing financially, then I also lean in that direction. But y'all's argument that like 80 and 40 are so close that he shouldn't get anything is nonsense to me, because
what do you need the spousal support for? If it's
not, because the concept morally of spousal support is not about it's the same bullshit argument that men make where we go like, why am I paying for paying this much money, I'm a millionaire or whatever, why am I paying $1 million a year for the baby just needs these XYZ bare minimum. I see this argument constantly made. It's like, no, What the baby needs is to have a household that is maintained at the level of lifestyle that they would have if y'all was together. That's what the aim is. So if you're a millionaire, and I'm gonna finish this out, but if you're a millionaire, your aim is to maintain that lifestyle for the child across everything, or in the case of spousal support, to maintain that lifestyle at that level across everything. You don't get to kind of go back to, oh, well, your basic needs are being met. So if you're a $40 million person dating an $80 million person and living with them together, y'all had a, what is that, $100 million lifestyle? They should be, did I do that math right? Yeah, no, $120 million lifestyle. They should be bringing you up to 60 million, and 60 million is different to 40 million. Not to people like us, but in terms of the kinds of shit that you do in your lifestyle, it is
probably not. Let me break that down. Right? It's
stock options, whatever the fuck.
It's similar to a lifestyle of a person making like 50K versus a person making like 80K. That's not a huge difference in lifestyle.
Give me my 30K. Give me my 30K.
Oh, okay. And again, I do think that you make a point like underlying that, like it has to get to a certain point. But let me tell you, the difference between say like 150K versus 300K is fucking negligible. That's the same double.
Specific, maybe.
So you get to certain points. You get to certain points where like it takes where you get diminishing returns based on very like relatively small amounts of money, right? So like 150K, double that, 300K. That's your lifestyle's not changing like drastically from that perspective. 40 million to 80 million. I can almost guarantee that their lifestyles are not drastically different.
Okay,
you'd probably have to go to like 200 million,
just to try and get into the specifics of it, because I I'm not a big baller like you, so I don't know what it is to live in.
I'm also not a big baller. I'm poor.
Let me try and approach this question because I'm trying to get the specifics of it, because we were kind of just saying that we think it is or is not a difference.
I have
all of what we're saying is speculation.
I actually have a little bit more information than y'all, and you specifically, you mind the guy is just talking. Like,
yeah, I am.
For one, factually speaking, because I mean, just to rebuttal what you were saying, like the whole thing with, oh, he's not going to be able to, like, to sustain the same lifestyle, bro. Like, yes, they are. Like 40, like to the lifestyle that they were living, Offset to be able to take care of his kids without them noticing a difference between households is negligible.
I'm talking about him personally. That's a clarification that I wanted to make. Not
he
just
can
the kids,
maintain
but
his lifestyle. Well. He can do everything that he was doing with 40 million.
The only thing I would say is maybe like a one time like little payout or something, because he did help her out at the beginning of her career when she signed the QC. He made sure all her paperwork was right, her business was right, and like that was when Bodak Yellow came out when she signed the QC during that whole thing.
Royalties off that, not a one time.
Not no goddamn royalty. I mean, like he ain't make that damn song. He wasn't shooting it up in the gym when she made that song. He ain't get no royalty.
Would she have been able to do it without him?
Yes, yes.
At the exact same level of success. Okay, yeah, maybe. Yes. I'm not saying she wouldn't, but all right. That song went. That song went. But as far as like her business, he definitely did like help her in that facet. You know what I'm saying? So I can see like a one-time payout, but as far as like continued spousal support for the purpose of maintaining a lifestyle that he already had before her, that he's maintaining during the relationship and after their relationship, it seems like more of a petty move. But you're making the argument that it must be the case that there was no difference in his lifestyle during that relationship. And I'm wondering why you're saying that. I'm not saying that's not true, but you're just asserting that it's the case. And I'm wondering why y'all are going, there was no inflation to his lifestyle while he was dating and in a relationship with Cardi B while she was more successful than him.
Because it was probably a lot easier for him to live the lifestyle that he was living, but he can still maintain that lifestyle making 40 million.
Okay, so and those are two very different fucking things. If we're saying it was easier for him to do that while dating Cardi B, we can't then also say, oh, well, he was living this way before, he'll live this way after.
But he was. Yes, you can. You literally can say that. You literally can say that. You literally.
No. I'm not saying that you can literally say anything. What I'm saying is that that's not a valid argument to say that there was no difference in what his lifestyle experience was during the relationship.
Let me put it to you like this. If I'm making 150K. I'm living this lifestyle. If I marry somebody that's making like 300K and I'm still living this lifestyle, right? This lifestyle becomes easier, but I'm still living this lifestyle with or without that person. That's what I'm saying, right? I'm still living my lifestyle right here This may become
easier.
easier.
Is by definition a different lifestyle. And doing anything easier is by definition
not necessarily when you're talking about, because when I say easier, right? What I mean is my personal expenditure for that is it may be less, right? Because you may be covering some of it. But that's not the argument that spousal support typically makes. That's not the argument that he's even making. He's not saying like this is a little bit easier from this perspective. He's saying like I can't live this lifestyle without her. Is the spouse?
Okay, let me try and
conversation
contextualize with two questions. So
your boys got something to tell you about this good old community. Join that community, help your boys out, especially if you love the long form content on your commutes, at work. If you just want to like drown your boss out for a good hour plus change, you know what I'm saying? Escape for a long break, you know what I'm saying? You'll have that there for you, ready to go. With that bonus content and the full length episodes, there's also additional nuggets, tomfoolery, all sorts of shit that just doesn't make it into the clips too. So you'll also have access to the Discord Waving the Red Flag community. It's a community of sane niggas and then sane women too. So hey, how often do you come across that? So make sure you help your boys out and subscribe. Doing that thing. We in here. $5 a month, baby. It ain't expensive. Let's go. Thank you to everybody that already signed up and joined. We appreciate you.
This nigga said we got sane women. Who would have thought?
We got sane women too.
I know what you meant, though. I know what you meant.
I ain't want, you know what I'm saying? I ain't want to come back. Just keep coming down on the niggas, you know.
Oh shit.
And you know what? Fair point. The first one is, and this goes back to that argument that we had where I was kind of like pro pregnancy payments and you were kind of against, which I think is core to it. I think that there's a very valuable element when we talk about financial lifestyle, which is what is my safety net? And I know that that's probably falls on deaf ears when it comes to like a $40 million, fucking offset, but
which is literally our point, by the way. That's literally the point.
And that's very, I think that's fair, which will go into my second point in a second. But part of this is if we go, hey, it's easier for me to maintain this lifestyle as a spousal, whatever, and I don't have to touch my savings, my stock portfolio, whatever. That to me is part of the moral argument of spousal support. I don't know if that's part of the legal argument, and I'm not making a legal argument. I'm making an argument about why it should exist, which is, can you maintain your wife, partner, whatever, child's lifestyle and their safety net? And that's part of it. So that's the first maybe point. My second question to y'all is, if it really doesn't fucking matter, then why does the money from Cardi B matter? Like if her dropping to, if she's got 80K and she's paying spousal support and it makes no difference her dropping down to 60 because it's the same lifestyle, why none of it matters?
Why would
I think it matters for the same moral argument that you put in the first one.
Right.
I think it's a moral argument, same situation.
Okay.
Right. Like why the hell would you give somebody $20 million that they don't need when you like work your ass off for your own money?
Because y'all are saying that it doesn't matter. Because I'm saying that it does matter. Y'all are saying it doesn't.
So I'm saying to be clear, I'm saying that you shouldn't give it because I think it's a moral high ground, which is the same conversation that you're making for your first argument.
So it makes no difference to Cardi, but he's just not owed it.
Yes. And then if I'm going back to your first argument, I think that the safety net aspect is I don't think anybody necessarily owes you a safety net. Like I don't think anybody owes you that perspective past a certain point. To your point, right? So, yeah. To your point, especially. I think maybe if Offset was making 50K, maybe she would owe him a safety net. If Offset is worth 40 million, I think he's fine. I think his net is pretty safe. And I think that needs to play.
When you're rich, the standards are different.
Exactly, but that's the point. I think that's the point.
And then on top of the context, if on top of the context, he has not been according to Cardi B, he has not been contributing within the last year to any of those expenses.
Yeah.
Or even like really being seeing the kids like that, because she, according to her, he don't want to fly to New York and visit his kids out of a hotel. Again,
I agree with you on that point.
Like this whole, but on like a different level, if we talking about like a different level, I would be more inclined to understand, agree with you, because I mean, hell, I'm not mad at a nigga getting some money from alimony if a woman makes drastically more than him. And like his lifestyle actually did in fact increase a fair deal, and he's also contributing and providing, you know what I'm saying, in the situations where he can. I'm not mad at that, but like this ain't.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm arguing more on the if he's not contributing and that's an argument that gets made in court, cool. I'm 100%, I'm 1,000,000,000% with you on that part. But because I'm so rich, my twice as rich partner owes. It's like, no, when you don't make these arguments when it comes to rich people. When you're making these big super $1 million, $1 billion deals, it's like, yeah, sometimes you owe somebody royalties. Sometimes you owe somebody, 1 million out of your 10 million. That's what it is when you're a Bill Gates or a Elon Musk or whoever. You're dealing with bigger numbers. So it's like, yeah, they're not going to die. No, none of these people are going to die. Prince isn't going to die if you don't pay him all his royalties. That doesn't mean he's not owed them.
Yeah, and
that argument, I'm much.
This isn't the same thing as royalties to me. Like, royalties imply something completely different than what we're talking about. But I think
it's a very similar thing for me. Yeah,
I think it's night and day. But I think that's probably a whole nother topic in and of itself, and we're almost out of time.
I'm sure we'll get into it. Yeah.
It's a red flag.